Promise of this video is pretty simple: to know how to avoid messy wiring and to learn techniques to do neat and effective wiring. These techniques aren't that difficult once it clicks. Let me show you these techniques in the next section. There are 7 techniques for proper and efficient wiring. But before that, let's talk about the branch positioning. Let's pretend this is a bonsai tree. For proper wiring, the alternate pattern is what you want to seek. In alternate branching pattern, the side branches do not grow directly across from each other. So before you begin wiring, you should cut or prune the branches in alternate pattern so that the wiring can be proper. Tip number 1: the order of wiring. If you wire the entire tree, always start with the trunk and then the branch and then to the fine branch. So you start with this dark blue one, the trunk, and then move on to the yellow one, the branch, and finally to the fine branches in the branch. Also, you start from the bottom to the top of the tree and from the base of the branch to the tip of the branch. This systematic wiring is very important for proper and efficient wiring. Tip number 2: make sure you wrap the wire just below the branch, like this, like this. Make sure there is some space between this wire and this wire. The space may be needed when you wire this branch and this branch. Tip number 3: when you wire, you do it in pairs. You choose 2 branches growing closest together and growing at the opposite side. So in this case, this and this and this and this and this and this are the closest and growing at the opposite side of the tree. This is to make sure that one branch will be an anchor to the other branch. Tip number 4 is the placement of the second wire. In this case, the first wire is wrapped clockwise. When the first wire is wired clockwise and the branches you want to wire, this and this, has higher branch at the left side, you wrap the second wire on top of the first wire like this. If, on the other hand, you want to wire this branch and this branch, and the right side branch is higher than the left side, you wrap the second wire below the first wire like this. Doing this, there is no crossing over from behind and from the front. Tip number 5 is anchoring. When you wire 2 branches, make sure that one branch and the other branch is wrapped in the opposite direction. You may see this right side branch is wired in this direction and the other side, the left side, is wrapped in the opposite direction. In doing this, when you pull this string, you see this spot squeezes. Tip number 6. When you start wiring right side higher and left side lower, stick to the pattern. If you don't stick this pattern like this, right side higher, left side lower, and the next time left side higher and right side lower, you see this branch, it's crossing over. Tip number 7. If the branches are growing at the same height, make sure the wire is coming from the back, like this. If you start from the front, the wire is very visible and it's crossing the trunk. If you start from the back of the tree, it is not visible. You see the trunk line clearly.